Back here on HQ Spotlight, week 1 of the NFL is finally here. Boy, it sounds good to say that, doesn't it? And it all kicks off, as mentioned, with the Cowboys and the Eagles. We got the Battle of Ohio with the Bengals and the Browns. An Aaron Rodgers revenge game with the Steelers and the Jets. Micah Parsons' debut on CBS with the Lions and the Packers on Sunday. Our producer James is wearing a Panthers jersey today, and I hate to inform him that they're going to get waxed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see come Sunday. Duval, baby. All right, let's welcome back the guys, Pete Prisco and Bryant McFadden. We're going to talk bold predictions, guys. And we are starting hot. B-Mac, you're kicking us off with your boldest prediction for tonight's game with the Cowboys and the Eagles. What you got cooking for us?
Well, when you look at both quarterbacks, their passing props, or especially Jalen Hurts, is fairly low. It's set at 215 yards for Jalen Hurts. Depending on where you're shopping for Dak Prescott, I see that number anywhere between 240 or 247, Pete. But my bold prediction for tonight's game, both quarterbacks will combine for, at the bare minimum, 600 yards passing. 600 yards passing. It clearly Vegas believes Jalen Hurts is not going to throw it around the yard with his prop set at 215. And we look at this front that Dak Prescott will be going against, led by Jalen Carter. Some people believe that he will have some troubles against this defensive front. But I'm thinking they're going to throw it around the yard, Pete. That's my bold prediction. At least 600 yards combined by both quarterbacks in tonight's matchup.
Pretty bold. I like it, B-Mac. But I think Dak Prescott's going to get that number. I don't know if Jalen Hurts will, but I like it, B-Mac. You're being bold.
All right, we're going to continue on. And, Pete, we're going to talk about a team and a quarterback that you have been very high on for a long, long time, and that is Baker Mayfield. What is your bold prediction for him?
Baker Mayfield is facing a defense, I think, that's vulnerable to the pass. And I know the Falcons went out and spent a lot of time and money and effort to try and upgrade their pass rush. I still worry about the secondary. I think there's going to be opportunities down the field. I wish Tristan Wirfs was in the game, but having said all that, I think Baker Mayfield goes for 320 and 3 this week against the Falcons. I think he's in a real comfort zone in that offense. You know, new offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, I think he'll do fine. They've, allowed him to call plays and work on his situational coaching during camp, and I think he's going to be comfortable enough. Baker Mayfield loves this offense. Mike Evans will hit some shots down the field. Love this 320 and 3 for Baker Mayfield.
You know what, Pete? Of course, you had your boots to the ground with the Buccaneers throughout training camp. I heard some pretty good things coming from their camp as well. Sounds like Baker Mayfield has really grabbed a hold of not just the offense, but the entire locker room. He's one of their best leaders, and the way how he's just kind of transformed into this high-level passer has really surprised a lot of people, not to mention the chemistry that he has established with his pass catchers, even though he will be missing 2 wide receivers. This is more than a doable number for Baker Mayfield. And the thing I like about Baker also, you look at Bucky Irvin, he's not just a running back. He's a guy that can become a pass catcher also in the passing game. So I love the pieces that he has surrounding him, and I think he will have a heck of a day, especially if he gets the much-needed blocking from his offensive line.
Yeah, and to your point, B-Mac, about him capturing the locker room, Pete and I spoke with Levante David on set here at CBS Sports, and he had nothing but amazing things to say, of course, about Baker Mayfield. All right, next up, we're talking about the Giants, who opened the season against the Commanders, and we know the strength of schedule is the toughest in the NFL for the Giants. The quarterback situation has been interesting, right? But, B-Mac, you have a pretty bold prediction here for the G-Men.
No question, bold prediction. The thing I love about divisional matchups, especially in week 1, you have to throw records and resumes out of the window. Anything can happen, and that's what we have going on in D.C. The New York Football Giants traveling to face off against the Commanders. My bold prediction in that ball game, Pete, is the Giants will win this ball game. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is a new situation going on with New York, especially on the defensive front. When you look at the Fantastic Four with Kayvon Thibodeau, Lawrence, Abdul Carter, and Brian Burns, those 4 guys could try. I believe they have the necessary talent to make things a little difficult for Jaden Daniels. And like I said, Pete, divisional matchups, week 1 is the week of unknowns. You have to throw records and resumes out of the window. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants come up and upset everyone when you look at how big of an underdog they are in this ball game, coming out and trying to scrap out a nice, much-needed win for year 1 with Russell Wilson under center.
Well, that's pretty bold because they're a big dog, but you know what? I tend to agree with you. I think it's going to be really close. In fact, when we did our picks on Tuesday, the Giants were my best bet. I love the 6.5. I don't know if they're good enough offensively to win the game, but I think they hang around in this one in large part because what you said, B-Mac, that defensive front is going to be nasty.
Can you imagine the momentum shift there if the Giants come out hot week 1 and beat Jaden Daniels and the Commanders? Man. All right, next up we're going to the Lions and the Packers matchup where, Pete, you got some high hopes for wideout Matthew Golden.
I'm telling you what, these rookie wide receivers step in and they look like veterans. They don't drop passes. Their hands are incredible. And I spent 2 days in Green Bay and watched him. He didn't drop a pass. And then I asked around, and they said he hadn't dropped one the entire summer. So I asked him, I said, why are you guys, you young receivers, all come in with great hands? And one of the reasons is they play so much 7-on-7 now. From the time they're in 8th, 9th grade, they're in 7-on-7 in the summer, and they learn how to catch the football. He's a big play threat. He's a deep threat. He will get the ball down the field. They love him in Green Bay. 8 catches and 2 touchdowns in his opener against the Lions. I think Matthew Golden's on his way to possibly being the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Hey, Pete, I'm glad you highlighted Matthew Golden. I'm glad you got an opportunity to see him up close and personal because I think he will be this year's Malik Neighbors. Not just about his individual skill set, to your point, the speed, the route running ability, and just being a shorthand catcher of the football, but also a healthy Jordan Love. People forget Jordan Love got injured in week 1. And he never got back to being himself that we saw in 2023. Well, he's healthy, he's throwing the football around the yard, and he has a upcoming highlighted super potential star at the wide receiver position in Matthew Golden, who you just alluded to. I think this is going to be a nice quarterback-wide receiver relationship going on there in Green Bay.
All right, so some high praises for Matthew Golden. Next up, wanted to talk about the Broncos welcoming the Titans to town for their season opener. We know it's a tough place to play, so B-Mac, what is your bold prediction for Cam Ward's first game in the National Football League?
Well, Cam Ward, you won't be playing against Wake Forest or North Carolina in this matchup. You're playing against a legit defensive team who led the NFL in sacks a year ago, Pete. I think they had around 63 sacks as a team for the entire season. So my bold prediction for this matchup, the Denver Broncos will get 9 sacks on Tennessee this ball game. Nick Bonita, who just got that nice deserving payday, he's one of the best pass rushers on their team, but not to mention some of the other guys in the scheme that they will put forth in terms of making sure they have one-on-one opportunities to win those matchups. They're going to have a field day in the backfield for the Tennessee Titans. I'm not saying all 9 will happen on Cam Ward. What I'm saying in totality as a team, my bold prediction is the Denver Broncos as a defensive team will have 9 sacks in this matchup against the Tennessee Titans.
Hey, by the way, B-Mac, wasn't Florida State a little bit like Wake Forest and North Carolina last year when they played Cam Ward? Weren't they a lot like that?
I have no recollection about last year. I don't know what happened in college football in 2024.
How easily you forget, B-Mac. How easily you forget.
I don't know what happened in 2024.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
They storm the field now at Florida State when they have a regular season win. That's where their program is.
Thank you for saying that, Pete, because B-Mac and I got into a very heated conversation prior to this show about field storming, but we have to table that. Pete, want to get to your bold prediction here because there's a lot of hype around the Ravens and the Bills for multiple reasons, right? It's the last 2 NFL MVP quarterbacks going face-to-face in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Kind of a spoiler alert here for your bold prediction. We should maybe hammer the over.
Yeah, I think both these offenses are going to get over 30. And remember, it's not a game in January when the weather is crappy and the wind is swirling and it ruins offensive football. These are 2 great offensive teams. You have great offensive play callers and, by the way, great quarterbacks. And I think when you look at this, they're both going to go up and down the field. You're going to see some big plays. And people like to point out that the Bills don't have that number 1 wide receiver. They didn't have a number 1 wide receiver last year. They'll be fine. They have good enough. And Dalton Kincaid is back healthy again. He's important in the middle of the field. So I think you see both teams go up and down the field. High-scoring game, fun. It's going to be the Sunday nighter. It's going to really cap off what should be a heck of a first day.
Yo, Pete, I agree with you. I have so much respect for either quarterback. I have so much respect offensively for what they bring to the table and just the consistency in which they all play with, man. And this will be an entertaining game. And I can tell you this much, Pete, if your bold prediction become a reality, you better believe going into week 2, those 2 quarterbacks will be number 1 and number 2 in the early MVP conversation that we love to have to jumpstart the NFL season, and deserving so if they put forth those type of numbers.
B-Mac Pete, we certainly appreciate it, giving us your boldest predictions for week 1 of the NFL. Great stuff as always, guys. We certainly appreciate it. All right, make sure you tune in on Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern, before all of the games to the NFL Today Plus. Our very own Amanda Guerra, Kyle Long, Matt Ryan, and Antonio Pierce previewing all of the matchups. You can watch it on YouTube or Paramount Plus or right here on CBS Sports HQ as well.